I'm gonna be honest, I wasn't nervous, so I didn't really have too much adrenaline. It was just getting comfortable. That's all it is. Plenty of games before, like I was nervous, but I felt like I knew the answers to the test. So it's like when you feel unprepared, then when you don't feel like you're ready for the moment. I know I'm ready for the moment. Did I play up to par? No, I don't feel like I did. But overall, the main goal was to win, and that's on.
Don't skip a single second of this video. And if this story touches your heart, give it a like, subscribe to the channel, and let us know in the comments. Where are you watching from? Let's begin. You don't hear rookies talk like that. You just don't. Most first-year quarterbacks walk off the field with shaky hands, rapid breathing, eyes still wide from the bright lights. They're quick to talk about nerves, about how fast the game felt, about just trying to survive out there. But Shedeur Sanders? He sat there after his NFL debut and spoke like a man who had already been here for years. No rush in his words, no sign of being rattled, just a calm, confident assessment of his night, and an understanding that the moment didn't own him, he owned it. That kind of presence is rare, and it changes everything. Because while Shedeur was speaking like a poised veteran, hundreds of miles away in Charlotte, I promise you, there was a very different conversation happening inside the Panthers front office. You know the feeling when a pit forms in your stomach, when you realize you might have just seen something that makes you question every decision you've made. That's what Carolina is feeling right now. Bryce Young was supposed to be the guy, the franchise cornerstone, the quarterback they were willing to stake their entire rebuild on. And in one night, in one preseason game, a fifth-round rookie in Cleveland may have cracked that confidence wide open. This wasn't just about numbers, though Sanders' numbers were impressive enough: 14 completions, 138 yards, 2 touchdowns. This was about command. Every snap he took had an energy to it. When Sanders dropped back, you could feel the confidence radiating through the stadium. And when he made a play threading the ball into a tight window, escaping the rush like it was second nature, you could see defenders, coaches, and yes, even fans taking notice. Bryce, meanwhile, was fine. He wasn't bad. He wasn't great. He was safe. Check downs, controlled reads, nothing reckless. Normally that's what you want from a young quarterback. But when the guy you're being compared to is out there making NFL defenses look like they're still in college, safe suddenly feels like not enough. And that's the heart of this moment. It's not just Shedeur Sanders playing well. It's him playing so well that it forces a team hundreds of miles away to look in the mirror. It's the Browns accidentally landing a quarterback who looks like he belongs in the big moments, while the Panthers are watching their chosen savior still searching for that spark. This wasn't supposed to happen in week 1 of the preseason. Not like this. Not with Shedeur Sanders, but it did. And now, the ripples have only started to spread. Because if Shedeur can keep this up, if he can take this confidence, this poise, and stack it week after week, we might be looking at one of those NFL stories that people tell for years. The "how did everyone else miss him" story. The "that's the night it all changed" story. The thing about Bryce Young, the Panthers didn't just draft him. They built an empire around him. They tore down and rebuilt their offense brick by brick, with Bryce as the blueprint. They traded away draft capital, reshaped the offensive line, brought in weapons, changed coordinators, all to make sure their number 1 pick would succeed. That's the weight Bryce carries into every single snap. And in a perfect world, that's a crown you wear proudly. But in the NFL, a crown can turn into a target real quick. Against Cleveland, Bryce's night was fine. 4 completions on 6 attempts, 58 yards, no turnovers. He looked composed. He looked prepared. But he also looked safe. And safe is dangerous. Because in this league, especially when you're the face of a franchise, safe gets you passed up. And that's exactly the problem right now. While Bryce was making clean, controlled throws, Shedeur Sanders was out there making plays that made people jump off their couch. Tight window lasers, sideline touch passes, escapes from pressure that turned broken plays into first downs. The kind of moments that live on highlight reels. Now ask yourself, when fans and analysts compare the two side by side, what sticks in their minds? Is it Bryce's efficient checkdowns, or Shedeur's fearless strikes? In this league, perception is reality. And right now the perception is that Bryce is cautious while Shedeur is commanding. The Panthers don't have the luxury of letting this narrative grow. They've invested too much. When you spend a number 1 pick, you're not just buying a quarterback, you're buying belief. You're telling your fan base, this is the guy who's going to win us playoff games. And if that belief starts to crack, if fans start wondering whether another young quarterback, a 5th rounder no less, is already outshining your franchise savior, that's a dangerous place to be. The scary part is how fast this can spiral. We've seen it before. Think about how quickly the narrative shifted around guys like Carson Wentz, Marcus Mariota, or even Baker Mayfield. One season you're the future, the next you're a cautionary tale. And right now Bryce is sitting in that uncomfortable middle ground, where the production isn't bad enough to bench him, but the spark isn't bright enough to quiet the noise. Every throw he makes from here on out is going to be weighed against Shedeur's. Every decision will be analyzed through the lens of would Sanders have made that play. And when you've got a fan base and a front office silently asking that question, you're not just playing football anymore. You're fighting to keep the crown from slipping. And here's the truth. The crown is already tilting. You could see it from the very first drive. Shedeur Sanders wasn't out there just trying to survive. He was out there to own the moment. And that's exactly what he did. 3rd and 9 early in the game. Most rookies panic in that spot. They check down, they force something dumb, or they eat a sack. But Shedeur, he slid out of pressure like he'd been doing it for a decade. Kept his eyes locked downfield, and then when the lane opened up, tucked it and moved the chains himself. That's not rookie behavior. That's quarterback behavior. And it didn't stop there. Rolling to his left, the hardest throw for a right-handed QB, he ripped a strike downfield with perfect timing and touch. No hesitation, no wasted motion, just pure confidence. You watch plays like that and it's not about the completion, it's about what it says. It says, I can make every throw in this playbook. Even the moments that didn't end in success spoke volumes. 4th and 1, game on the line, most guys hand it off or run a quick slant. Shedeur empties the backfield and goes for the kill shot. Didn't convert, but that's not the point. The point is the mentality. You're either a game manager or you're a game changer. We all saw which one he's aiming to be. But here's what really cements this kid's it factor. It's not just the game snaps, it's the off-field grind. We're talking about a rookie showing up to the Browns facility at 4:35 a.m., pulling teammates with him, and setting the tone before most of the league is even awake. We're talking about a 22-year-old telling his own father, Deion Sanders, one of the most famous athletes on the planet, "Don't come to camp. I want to earn this without distractions." That's not just maturity, that's leadership DNA. And make no mistake, the veterans have noticed. You've got guys who have been in this league for years, pulling reporters aside and saying, "This kid gets it." Coaches quietly admitting they didn't expect him to be this sharp, this early. You can feel it. The depth chart might say rookie project, but Shedeur is forcing everyone to treat him like a serious contender. It's the same energy we saw when Russell Wilson showed up in Seattle as a 3rd-round pick and started pushing Matt Flynn out of the picture. Or when Dak Prescott took over in Dallas and never gave the job back. Those guys didn't just play well, they changed the conversation. And right now, Shedeur Sanders is doing the same thing in Cleveland. He's not just throwing passes, he's building a case that says, I'm not waiting my turn, I am the turn. And if he keeps stacking performances like this, the Browns' future might already be wearing number 14. Right now, Cleveland's quarterback room feels less like a meeting space and more like a live grenade. You've got veterans who expected to lock down this job, rookies fighting for their shot, and injuries reshuffling the entire depth chart. Kenny Pickett? Banged up. Gabriel? Nursing something of his own. And right there in the middle of the chaos, Shedeur Sanders, riding a wave of momentum you can't buy, you can't fake, and you definitely can't ignore. But here's the truth. Momentum in the NFL is fragile. It can vanish overnight. One bad week, one shaky practice, one joint session where the defense figures you out, and suddenly that QB of the future talk feels premature. That's why these next few days, especially with the joint practices against the Eagles, are going to be the real test. This isn't going to be preseason vanilla coverages anymore. Philly is going to bring speed, disguise, and pressure from angles Sanders hasn't seen yet. They're going to try to rattle him, get in his head, and see if that composure we've all been hyping holds up when the bullets are flying for real. And this is where swagger can be a double-edged sword. Yeah, it energizes the locker room. Yeah, it makes the fan base believe. But swagger without sustained performance, it evaporates fast in this league. The NFL is littered with guys who had a hot start and then got swallowed by the speed of the game once teams had film on them. That's why this moment matters. Because right now, Shedeur isn't just playing quarterback. He's auditioning for the Browns' entire future. You stack another good week on top of what you just did, you don't just keep your name in the conversation. You become the conversation. Coaches start calling plays with you in mind. Teammates start believing this is your huddle, not just a temporary seat. And that's how you quietly shut down a quarterback competition before it even gets to week 1. Make no mistake, the political game is just as real as the football game. Every rep in camp is evaluated, not just for execution but for body language, leadership, decision-making. You throw a touchdown in practice, that's great. You celebrate with the O-line, talk to the defense after, keep your energy locked in. That's leadership. You miss a throw, shrug it off, and bounce back on the next play. That's resilience. Those are the things that win over a building. The Browns have been searching for their guy for decades. If Sanders can prove this wasn't a one-game flash, if he can show that poise under sustained fire, Cleveland might not need to keep searching. But until then, every snap, every read, every single throw matters like his career depends on it. Because right now, it just might. And the next chapter of this battle, it's coming in the trenches against the Eagles, where hype means nothing, and proof means everything. Picture it. It's December. The wind is cutting through Cleveland. The lake is frozen over, and the Browns are in the hunt. Not clinging to hope, not limping to the finish line. In the hunt. And under center, it's not a placeholder. It's not a game manager. It's Shedeur Sanders, calm in the pocket, commanding the huddle, and making the kind of throws that win playoff games in bad weather. The city is alive. Fans are wearing number 2 jerseys in the dog pound. And every sports network in America is asking the same question. How did the rest of the league miss this? Now flip the channel.
Carolina, same December, and Bryce Young is still figuring it out, still developing, still hearing words like potential and patience instead of production in playoffs. The Panthers front office is answering uncomfortable questions, the fans are restless, and somewhere deep in that building they can't help but wonder, did we back the wrong horse? That's the nightmare for Carolina and the dream scenario for Cleveland. And make no mistake, that's what's on the table here. Because Shedeur Sanders isn't just auditioning for a starting job, he's threatening to change the way this franchise, this city, thinks about quarterbacks. For decades, Cleveland has cycled through hope and heartbreak. The names on the back of the jersey have changed, but the story's always been the same. Close, but not quite. Flashes, but not consistency. And here comes a rookie who carries himself like he's been here before, who throws with precision, who leads like the job is already his. That's not normal. That's special. And special is what changes history. What I love most, he's not begging for belief, he's demanding it. With every throw, with every rep, with every bit of swagger that's backed up by work. You talk to the guys in that locker room, and they'll tell you, this isn't just about talent. It's about presence, about a guy walking in and making everyone around him feel like they can win. And here's the thing, you can't fake that. You can't coach that. You either have it or you don't. And Shedeur Sanders has it. So yeah, the stakes are massive. For the Browns, this could be the turning point they've waited a lifetime for. For the Panthers, it could be the decision they regret for just as long. I'm telling you right now, we're watching something that could define the next decade in Cleveland football. And I'm not just going to cover it. I'm going to track every single step of this journey. Because if Shedeur Sanders keeps playing like this, it won't just be the Browns' dream scenario. It'll be their reality. And the rest of the NFL, they better be ready.